Good morning. So I'm just going to give us some announcements, but it's so great to see everybody this morning. And did y'all get any rain over here? I heard thunder all night long. I thought somebody was jumping up and down on top of my roof. Couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So if you're joining us for the first time, could we please acknowledge you by just raising your hand or? All right, we got 2 people here. We'll be sure and get you a welcome package in just a moment. Good morning, Rosa. Today is our fundraiser, Soup for the Soul. We make homemade soups, and you're welcome to join us downstairs in fellowship. We have several different types, and we just ask a $3 donation because we're trying to raise money to replace some of our door fixtures and stuff. We have a new members information meeting next Sunday after service. So if you're interested in what we teach and what our goals are and what we believe to be the truth of our existence, you're welcome to join us, and we'll explain it to you as well. We also have Kathy Daniels, one of our board members, is running a book study group. Right now they're reading Breakfast with Buddha. And it is about a man that ends up taking a Mongolian monk on a long road trip. And evidently it's pretty humorous, but it's also enlightening as well. If you want to know what's going on at the center, there's different posters and things up on the wall. Usually the first of the month we have our potluck where everybody just joins. We just have a nice lunch together. And we also have lots of different kinds of opportunities here at the center. One of them being we need some volunteers. We need some volunteers to help us get our chapel back into really good shape. And we're going to have another garden party, which the last one Moore and I showed up for. And we cleaned out all the weeds across the front of the chapel up there at the road. Yeah, we had 3 33-gallon bags of leaves and a green can completely full. So it was in need. But we'd like if you could join us again. We also have child care available if you have grandchildren, or if you want to bring children with you, they're welcome to join us, and we have somebody that stays with them during service. And also in the back of the pew, you'll see that there's little slips of paper for prayer request. If you have a prayer, thank you ladies. Here's Vanna and her helper over here. Whenever you have a prayer request, there's a box right around the corner here on this bookshelf, and just drop your prayer request in there, and somebody will either call you if you'd like for them to, or we'll just do prayer for you. You don't have to be present, you know. We can do prayer anytime we want to. Okay, and the new Science of Mind magazine is available in the library. It's the July-August issue is there. And so with that concluding, I'm going to turn it over to Darcy and do our congregational song.
In your program is a set of sheet paper, and on it says congregational song. No dying. Hey. No time for that. Sorry. It says, I love myself. And so if you feel so inclined, please stand, and let's sing, I love myself. Ready? Here we go. Yeah. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful, sing that, and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Oh, I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside, what, can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Oh, I love myself just the way I am. Yeah, good morning.
So now we have our opening prayer with practitioner Cheryl Ostrander.
Good morning. I'm just breathing in the energy of all y'all. Please join me and turn within and allow yourself to be bathed in the beauty and the love of Spirit, just the way you are, perfect in every way. I know that Spirit is moving in and through each of us today, as it always does, enlightening us, informing us, healing us, and curing us. I know that Spirit is in this energy that flows through us each and every day. And as this service unfolds perfectly in imperfect ways, I know that we are blessed, and each of us is hearing just exactly what we need to hear today as Reverend Don speaks to us and through us and for us. I'm grateful to be part of this. I'm grateful to be part of this assembly of people who are like-minded and have chosen this place to celebrate God today. And with that gratitude, I embrace this philosophy, this teaching, and I release my word into the law of God, knowing it is done as spoken, and through grace, so much more. And please join me in affirming, and so it is. And speaking of affirming, there is an affirmation in your program. Please join me. I choose to embrace an authentic approach to life. So I'll move out of my comfort zone and try something new by freeing myself from limiting ideas about perfection. I can open myself to new methods, and so it is.
And now Darcy, now we have our reading. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm glad to see you all today. The title of today's reading is Perfect Practice. And it begins by a quote by Karen Mason Miller. And she asks, "What do you practice? Whatever you practice, you'll get good at. Some people become more fearful and cynical, some more arrogant or vain, some greedier, some needier, some more combative or close-minded, because that's what they practice." And our writer goes on today to say, perfect practice does not demand a perfect environment. We may be called to practice when building construction is starting outside. We may be called to practice when a small child demands our constant attention. We may be called to practice when it feels a little too cold or too hot. Perfect practice is practicing anyway. This is not to say that environment is not important for our spiritual practice. To have a space we declare as sacred, to ensure as much quiet is available as possible, to ask our loved ones for help. Each of these helps us create the proper environment for spiritual practice. Spiritual practice, prayer, and meditation should call you in the morning louder than the call of coffee or breakfast or a return to the pillow. When that is the case, you are the only environment you must have. Practice makes perfect, but consistent everyday practice doesn't need to be perfect to be enough. Karen Mason, our original quote writer, said of those who practice, "They are strong yet tender, steady yet yielding, powerful yet gentle. You will recognize them because they resemble the earth you can touch and the sky you cannot contain. It is not that they are superhuman. They are more completely human than most of us ever allow ourselves to be." Perfect practice, perfect, imperfect practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes imperfect. Just practice. That is enough. And our bonus affirmation for today is, no matter what seems to be holding on to me, I hold on to my practice.
Well, as most of you know, I'm a music teacher, and so the word practice is a dear word to me. Very often not used, but still a dear word. I've spent hours and hours trying to think of different ways to talk to my students about how important practice is. And at one point in my life, I had to give up my idea that I knew everything. I know it's shocking. And actually endeavor to learn. And for me, practice was moments in humility. I took a class one time in playing the harmonica because I thought it was a stupid instrument. To tell you that honestly. So I thought, I can do this piece of cake. I learned to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I was good at it. Humorous as that may be, I discovered that there were things that I didn't know and that I could learn. And even in the craft that I thought I knew everything, I could learn. And the more I go on in life, I discover how much more I can learn about life. And how much I can learn about relating to other people. And so when I heard this song many years ago, actually, I immediately understood what they were saying. Because part of practice is wanting to do it. Sounds simple, very difficult. So this song says, well, if you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free. Because there's a million things to be. You know that there are. Oh, and if you want to live high, live high. And if you want to live low, live low. Because there's a million ways to go. You know that there are, you know that there are. You can do what you want, the opportunity's on. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true, and you can make it undo. You see, oh, it's easy. Oh, all you need to know is, well, if you want to say yes, say yes. And if you want to say no, say no. Because there's a million ways to go. You know that there are, you know that there are, you know that there are. And if you want to be me, be me. And if you want to be you, be you. Because there's a million things to do. You know that there are, you know that there are. You can do what you want. Oh, the opportunity's on. And you can find a new way. Oh, oh, you can do it today. You can make it all true. And you can make it undo. You see, oh, it's easy. Oh, all you need to know is if you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free. Because there's a million things to be. You know that there are, you know that there are, you know that there are, you know that there are.
So now it's time for our message from our fabulous, wonderful Don Kerr. He's our Kerr, anyway. But please welcome him as he speaks about it's okay to have imperfect practices because we are perfectly imperfect. So welcome, Reverend Don.
Oh boy, oh boy. Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. My goodness gracious, how do you live up to that? Hey, back there, Minnesota, hello. Mariah and Darwin has been with us forever, but now they live in Minnesota and they're back. So I say hello, hi. Glad you're here. When they travel through, they come through and see us, okay. So hello and summer morning greetings to all of us, to all we perfect beings, being human, being divine, being us, being me, being you, just that's what we are. And I want to speaking of mornings, I woke up yesterday morning with the remains of a fuzzy dream I was having about traveling. It was one of those mornings when you kind of feel your dream more than you remember, that kind of thing. It's interesting to me that many of my dreams are about traveling. I used to be a traveling salesman, maybe that has something to do with it. But before the love of my life, my partner, my wife, who has been my traveling companion for, I don't know, since we were both 16 years old, probably. We met in high school. We used to like to travel by car. You see, Phyllis thinks that airplanes are too big to get off the ground, too heavy. It's all an illusion. Planes were not her accepted mode of travel. We tried a couple times, and some counseling. Nothing worked. So instead of falling, into regrets and disappointments and whining about it, we accepted the practice of what some folks told us was an imperfect travel mode. It's dangerous to drive a car. It's just easy. It's safer in the sky. Oh, okay, I took that, but we just drove and we just moteled, and our adventures of traveling, and all the parks all over the country. We never left the continent. Never left the ground. But after we raised our perfect children in our perfect parenting, we would take these long automobile trips. I was in business for myself, and I could just take my time when I could. Phyllis was with the state of Oregon and had her time build up. We'd take a month at a time. One time we took a sabbatical from work, and we hit the road for a full month on our way to Chicago. I had a one-day business meeting there with my finance and supply company. So we met that one day, and then the rest of the month was travel and play. I flew in some of my business needs, but my wife didn't go with me. So now, my role has evolved from traveling companion to full care and comfort companion with her, as she is now in the stages of her living in the present moment. I loved the way that is looked at. Living in the present moment. And the furthest we travel, basically now, is to Portland and back to visit our other two daughters who live up there. And our other perfect daughter is here in Salem and Kaiser, so we occasionally drive out to Kaiser and back. But I start this morning telling you this because after I awoke yesterday morning, I began to remember some of the old and interesting things that you can, I should say odd even about that, you can run into while traveling by car. It brought to mind one of my favorite jokes that I don't think I've ever told you about traveling experiences. And I know our morning message is supposed to be a discussion, to continue this discussion about imperfection and imperfect, imperfection things. But I want to tell you this. If it's okay with you, I would like to share this joke with you. See what you think. We'll get to all this. We'll get all this other stuff later. So it starts out by saying a husband and a wife were traveling and stopped at a very exclusive hotel to rest for a while. They slept for 4 hours, then decided to leave and travel on. Hop in the car and just go. When they checked out, the desk clerk handed them a bill for $450. $450. The man exploded. He demanded to know why the charge was so high. He demanded to see the manager. Well, the manager appeared, listened to the man, and then he explained that he had to understand that the hotel had an Olympic-sized pool and a huge conference room that was available for their use. But we didn't use them, protested the man. Well, we have them, and you could have, replied the manager. And then he went on to explain that they could have taken one of the shows in for which the hotel was famous, but we didn't go to any of these shows, argued the man. Well, they're here, and you could have, repeated the manager. And he went on, no matter what, he kept going on about the facility this, the facility that. And every time the man would reply, but we didn't use any of that. We didn't use them. And eventually the man realized he was going to have to write a check to get out of there and head up the road. So he wrote a check. Oh, wait, sir, the manager said. Hey, this check is only for $100. The man nodded and said, that's right. I charge you for attempting to kiss my wife. But sir, I didn't. Well, the man replied with a smile. She was here. You could have. I like that joke. I'm glad you did too. Oh my gosh. Is there anyone here who doesn't know who Dr. Ernest Holmes is? We all know Doc Holmes. You know, he was an amazing character. He has this reputation, of course, for being in depth with his writing and his speaking and so on. But, you know, I love the way, where I read he said one time that he had no idea really what mind was or is, but he just loved to watch the way it worked. Wow. Yeah. And last week, if you were here, Reverend Julie started us down this path of spirituality and humanity, of wholeness and oneness and understanding. There really are no happenstances or accidental tourist experiences we have in this wonderful life that we're living, sometimes mystifying life, but right now is what we have. And today we'll try to build on this topic that asks us, what if perfection isn't the goal of God or our goal in our meditations and all those things that we do? And more conversation on perfectly imperfect life. Well, I just want to just kind of slide over that to immediately add something to that. What if there isn't even a goal found in the universal divine purpose? What if it has no goals of life, of living? Just divine purpose. What does that mean? Does God have intention to make things perfect? Maybe to install perfection in all creation? Does God have goals to meet? Well, we're so used to thinking about goals. What is the purpose? It has to have a goal. You got to have a goal if you have a purpose. What if, I say we can take this phrase you probably heard, practice makes perfect. You've heard of that, I'm sure. And just look into the human and divine only purpose. And take that phrase and come to the realization that, you know what? It doesn't make perfect after all. Practice is not for perfection. Practice works great in basketball and baseball and sports and in music mastery of a song or material of an instrument. But practicing in sports, whether it be basketball or baseball or any other sport, is about conquest or winning or losing a competition. It's only in our human activity, I think, the illusion activity, the illusion part of this win or lose, this conquest or defeat, this overcoming, do we forget about our deep divine desire? It gets kind of beyond winning and losing. There's something about us when it comes to experiencing. See, all this, it's all about the need that we have, natural need of our deepest divine nature. We have this deep divine nature. And what is that need, we can ask ourselves. It's not just the need to win or the need to make it perfect. What do we need? We need, God uses and needs experiences. We need to experience. And why do we need experiences more than winning or conquest, even more than acquiring things? It's because our divine original nature seeks to express and experience. And there's no such thing as practice in the divine reality of life. I want to repeat that. There's no such thing as a practicing of the divine reality in life. Now, that sounds like a lot of jargon here to me. First off, the truth is there's only just being. What are you being? The reality of life is being divine and being human and blending that. And our divine original nature is the real essence of who we are. That's our wholeness, that togetherness. Now, I just want to say right here, when I speak from this podium and on certain times, I realize I can't really teach you anything. And my purpose is not to teach you anything. My purpose is to share. To share only what I know, the way I understand something, and see if there's a blend of perhaps coming together of minds, a kindredship, so to speak. Because I think there's no such thing as practice in the divine reality of life. I really believe that. There's only being. Just being what you are. And our divine original nature, we have this divine original nature, I feel. It's the real essence of who we are. I think that's our wholeness. We talk about wholeness. Julie's talked about it for 2 weeks. wholeness and oneness. Our human nature will seek the survival and the meaning for our life. We have to have meaning, we feel, to remember and maybe relearn who we really are. Maybe relearn that. That's our human nature. That's what we're seeking. So in our human nature, we develop practices. Yes, we've developed practices over the years to learn, to implement, and grow in our experiences as spiritual beings having our human experiences. It's all about our experiences, to be free and willing to be free, to make choices. We have these beautiful, beautiful gifts given to us about making choices. We don't really realize how powerful we are until we start making choices. If we're drifting along, sometimes it's like, oh, just give me another song. But if we only set goals that desire perfection and winning or overcoming or defeating another person's experiences, what we're really doing is we're suffocating ours and their experiences of a now moment. We're overcoming a now moment experience. And what does this, it's cut off. What is spiritually, I think it's called, there's a word for it. It's the life-sustaining essence, and what I call it our God sense. We're just tamping down our God sense, our true sense of true self, of our God self. I take my own experiences of this time. I just want to share something with you. I need a drink of water before I do that, though. You know, the elixir of life is water, is it not? I have a good friend who says it's vodka. I've never tried that. Believe me, fellas, I've never tried vodka. It used to be Southern Comfort for me when I was 24. Okay, I take my own experience right now at this time of life for my wife Phyllis and me. And I'm going to share something. I have chosen to neutralize my need to win over a situation and change it. Instead, I'm allowing a form of dis-ease that's called Alzheimer's to be integrated into my experiences with her, with unconditional love. And many of you know my take on the word love, letting others verify existence. I must let her verify existence. I'm not attempting to make perfection a goal or even a possibility to make things as they were before our journey into this untraveled before terrain. There's nothing to win. There's nothing to lose. But there is worlds of new experiences to gain a new perspective, to the understanding, a way of wholeness, to embrace oneness as life experience, and continue the journey to see where the divine purpose is going to take us. It's a journey, and I'm ready to see where it's going. If I continue to believe that leaning into what seems to be imperfect practices will reveal new perspectives of wholeness and oneness as a divine purpose, something amazing just may be our new experience in this divine purpose. Well, the winning and the losing, that's a part of what we have come to accept in our human life experiences. You win some, you lose some. We talk that way sometimes. But have you ever seen that humorous bumper sticker that reads, oh gosh, I like this bumper sticker, "She who dies with the most stuff is the winner." Remember seeing that? Well, I think perfection is a certain word that we've created in the human psyche, intellect, that denotes no flaws, nothing left to improve, just perfect, finished and final. But I think we have to learn as humans that spirit directing energy into form, some might say unfolding itself, God unfolding itself into form. Some might say that is a perfect power. Okay, I have to agree to that. But it needs no honing. It doesn't need altering or adding to or taking away. You don't have to fit it or file it or fiddle it with life. Spirit directing energy doesn't bind itself to anything of finality. I get that. It's not a goal reached or breached and then on to another conquest. You know, we don't win at life. We don't win anything at life. We never win anything in life. We waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of effort on overcoming, winning the battles that we call life. But we really can't win in life because we mostly do battles with ghosts and illusions of our own making. We don't realize how we created this or that. When all along, all we do really is we just do life. Yeah, we are life. However, we are centered in, and we move and I think we have our very being in this perfect power. We say there's a power greater than any human condition. You bet there is a power. Perfect power that we basically only use it in two ways, however. Two ways. We grasp it, we use it with effort and struggle, or we effortlessly let go and get into the flow of ease and grace. Which can we find? Where do we find this? We find it in spiritual practices. Yes. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about meditation. I'm talking about prayer, of affirmation, visioning. You've heard of all these, I'm sure. Allowing Spirit to move in us, as us, just naturally taps us into the flow of this perfect power. No matter how imperfectly capable we may feel about our spiritual practices, all we have to do to be in the constant grace is to just practice. That's enough. Let's think back to the original reading by our reader John this morning. Remember that? It was titled Perfect Practice. One quote asked us, says, what do you practice? Whatever you practice, you will be good at. You'll get better. Now listen to what he said about what some people use it for. Some people become more fearful, more cynical, some more arrogant or vain, some greedier, some needier, some more combative or closed-minded, and that's what they practice. So, bottom line, whatever you practice, you'll get good at it. But I say, isn't that great? To be privileged, to be being blessed with the power to choose or to go what to do, to choose what we practice? That's the question we should pay attention to, I think, for our daily thoughts and our deeds and our actions. This truth can just set us free in our spiritual practices, but we can have the delusion of what we believe is truth that will bind us to more misery. We get to choose. We get to choose. Thank God we get to choose. I want to be reading a short poem written by some time ago by the author, Jesse Bell Rittenhouse. You might have heard that name. It had to go with something that I have it on my mind about some relatives of mine who talked to me about life giving them a rough go, life betraying them, life taking away. There's a song, used to be a country western song, once I had fortune and fame, and then I lost everything, and now I don't have a dime, or something like that. This cousin I have is in that state right now. Yeah, he almost became governor of the state of California at one time, or he was thinking he was. But, so I sent him this poem. I'm going to read it to you, see what you think about it. I'm kind of sliding away from the perfection on into some other things here. It says, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening, and when I was counting my candy score, Because I know life is just a just employer. It gives you when you ask, but once you've set the wages, then you got to bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that my wage, any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. That's probably the toughest lesson one of the toughest lessons we have to learn. To realize that our choices really make our experiences, that which we call our life, sweet or continued misery. So it comes down, I think, to how we want to express our human willingness to just allow divine perfect power to move in various ways in our life. Do we have to know what that good that we deserve is going to be? Do we have to know every little detail? If we wait till we are ready, till everything is lying just right and to make our move, then we'll never begin. It's that we are in the experiencing business as a human being. But that's God's business too. Why does God show up in lives if not for the experience of helping human, being human, knowing human, learning more of God's self for God's own perfected self? You know, I think perfect power is just simply spiritual wholeness on the move. You know, energy. Nothing stands still in this universe, you know that. Everything is subject to change. Only in the human sight, only in the human understanding, I want to say, only in our human misunderstanding do we ever see or perceive certain things as flawed. I know, we are in a country, a major part of the world where the major religion in this part of the world sees humans as flawed, born in need of being saved from their flawed nature. And the basic thing flawed in this is the flawed thinking, the misunderstood perception that humans are flawed and need redemption from themselves. And I think it's also a misunderstood perception that humans cannot save themselves from themselves. We sometimes forget that spiritual practice, such as prayer, meditation, visioning, affirmation, those are called spiritual practices. We forget they are all rich with redemption. They're so powerfully full of redemption that they should call us in the morning louder than the call of coffee or breakfast, as John was reading, or a return to the pillow. Spiritual practice is not hooked on perfection or worrying about whether we were flawed beings or not. The reading John, I think, that reads today, it tells us that perfect practice, it doesn't demand a perfect situation or an environment. It went on to say that we're going to be called to practice when construction noise might make it. How about those blowers when taking a nap in the afternoon? All of a sudden, down they come. Somebody's cleaning out somebody's yard with a blower. Okay, well, I'm awake then. But we may be called to practice when a child demands or anyone else demands our attention, our recognition, or when it feels just isn't right because it's too cold to take. It's too cold to sit here in my car and give an affirmation, or too hot. Perfect practice is practicing anyway, just doing it anyway, just doing it. So I say this in this divine, because I think in this, it's divine thinking. Okay, it's divine thinking. We have lots of categories we put our thinking into, but let's talk about divine thinking. In divine thinking, we can see that the intuitive nature of our thinking power, the true power senses that we need to continue to evolve. It knows, something in us knows we must continue to evolve. And that's called improve, or whatever it may be useful. We just make up our own words for that, to evolve. How do we get to be where we're at right now? We evolved to this point, and so did our families. My God. But our need to overcome our feelings of insecurities and our fear and ignorance of our divine purpose, especially in ignorance of divine purpose, this feeling that we have, this knowledge we have within ourselves that we're not aware of sometimes, it's always seeking out the way for overcoming our belief that we are imperfect. It makes no sense to the divine nature that anything's imperfect. Why even talk about it? We hear it say in religious circles sometimes where we judge ourselves. We aren't perfect. We're just forgiven. That's a great, powerful, millions rejoice in it, finding that. By seeking forgiveness for their perceived imperfectness as flawed beings. Oh, God. I get started down a road sometimes and I think, how far you want to go with that? A greater truth, I want to talk about that, and a divine practice awaits our knowing that the truth about imperfection simply means embracing all of ourself, every part and particle, because of our acknowledgement for this. If we acknowledge this inherent divinity that we are, that's going to allow us to honor our interconnectedness and recognize what we call flaws are just part of a grand symphony of creation, warming up, coming into attunement and alignment. Oh, yeah. Well, you could go on and on about this type of thing, but as I lean into imperfection sometimes, and I do this, to myself, I see this is not what I expected or wanted. If I lean into it, like leaning into the wind, it's like the winds of change are blowing, and I'm leaning into that, just letting it wrap around me. That's where I find it's giving me time to learn about oneness, coming to one. From the perspective of oneness, we can understand that everything, all existent life is divine. It's the expression of God or divine intention, the divine purpose, to express the qualities of the divine in some energy, using energy for form. Yeah, on and on. I want to wrap this up. I want to talk about oneness just for a minute. You see, oneness doesn't mean sameness or uniformity. You know that. It's not duplication. You've heard that before. That's a good word, duplicate, to copy. No, that's not true divine oneness. Divine intelligent, moving universal energy through form is not involving robots and puppets or identical expressions. I heard it say that God's not a widget maker. When we speak of, I think, this idea, the quality of wholeness, there we have oneness. We're meaning that oneness encompasses expressions of existence, including what we call our imperfections. Includes it. Every wrinkle, every wart, every world, planet, or star, or earthly being, and that is because we can recognize, if we just open our eyes, our hearts, our minds, we can recognize that each part and particle is a unique piece that contributes to the wholeness, which is, I think, blessedly, beautifully referred to as the divine tapestry, I read one time, of all form that makes up the universal wholeness. Here's the capper. I'll quit on this. We are held, I think, in our understanding by a very special word, and I call it connectivity. Connectivity reminds us that we're not separate from the universe. We're intricately woven into the fabric of all existence by some degree. And by embracing what we may call that, then we realize who we really are. Who we really are. Okay, all you stars, you perfect people. I'm through talking right now. And thanks for being here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. And thanks for not for deciding to stay for soup after after our meeting here, our gathering. Amen. Namaste.
Know that you can achieve. When I came to teach at Battleground, the kids had sweatshirts that said "Perfection is possible," and I said I'd like to change that. So we changed that to "I'm doing the best I can." And they were like, "Well, wait." And I said, "No, that can be amazing. That can be amazing. It can be transformative. To do the best you can." Because not everybody's going to agree with you. The bottom time is you need to know. And so this song asks the question, when you're going to live your life now the way you always wanted to, when you're going to find the love that's there inside of you, when you're going to climb the mountains that lie across your path now, when you're gonna be the one you never quite allow yourself to be the one you want to be, when you're gonna learn the lessons that life is always given, when you're gonna cross the threshold that makes life worth the living, when you're gonna love somebody the way you always wanted to, when you're gonna find the love that's deep inside of you and be the one you want to be, when you're gonna change the patterns that keep your life from growing, when you're gonna free your spirit and let your love start showing, when you're gonna let your light shine through all your tears and sorrows, when you're gonna claim your birthright and be the one you want to be the one you want to be. Say it with me. Be the one you want to be. 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 Be the one you want to be.
Now could our ushers come forward? I'd like to read our offertory affirmation. Join me, please. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
And the offertory song is in your program if you'd like to have it. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that
See, I'm so new at this. All right, just knowing that everything is God and that money is the circulation and the flow of God, that everything that we gather today blesses this chapel, blesses the people that attend here, and that we know that everything is unfolding in perfect divine right order as we go forth today. And we are so grateful for everything that is gathered, for everything that is distributed, for everything that just continues to remain in that flow. And so I just release my word to the law, knowing that everything unfolds in perfect divine right order, and so it is. Now I'd like to do our prayer of protection. Please join me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Now we're going to have our peace song. So please join together, hold hands.
Words are in front of the program if you need them. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yeah, be the one is the last song I sang. But be the one. It's by Omen and Shante.